Hello, welcome to my channel. This is to update you. The last time I showed you a video on how to germinate seeds. There were two types of seeds that we brought out last time. The seeds that I kept from last year over winter, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the results of that versus seeds that I took from chili pepper that I grew up until this point, and then we'll go ahead and see how they stacked up with each other. The old seeds that I kept over the winter, how they progress versus freshly new seeds. So here, let's go ahead and take a look at these. This is back on March 19th. Today is April 16th. This actually, let me show you the other one. Well, first of all, I'll show this one. This one was the yellow Scotch bonnet, but apparently this one, the seeds didn't grow too well, so it all depends. You have a little mold on this one, so this one didn't do too well. I mentioned last time on the other video, if you want to take a look at that on how to germinate, go ahead and click on the top right link, and I'll show you how to germinate these. That one didn't grow too well. This one actually I did a week after, and as you can see, it didn't do too well, but there's a little right there. There's a little, the seeds is progressing here, as you can see. So we'll go ahead and leave that alone. I'm going to go ahead and cover it up with rental wraps. Now, when that plant gets a little bit longer, I'll switch it over to something like this. I just use a clear cup that you can recycle, or you have laying around the house, and then you can use it as a dome, and it works pretty well. As you can see, this one it grew very well, but because it's too long, I can't use the render wraps to cover it, so I use this dome, and it works very well. Now, the seeds from last year, let me show you. Here's one. As you can see, it has some true leaves already. See, as you see, there's 3 branches. So we can take these, and then we'll go ahead and switch it over to hydroponics. And then there's this one also from last year, the seeds. This is my Carolina Reaper, and as you can see, this one grew very well. We'll go ahead and switch that over to hydroponics also. And this one, I planted a couple of seeds into one pot container, and as you can see, the reason why it is growing so high is the plant is trying to keep going up towards the light. That's just how plant grows. So it got so long, big, that I used this lid instead of the render wrap. And the plant just, when they start growing, they just love humidity. So that's the reason why this pot right here grew so well. As for this one, as you can see, there's one right here that started to sprout from the soil. This was back on March 26th. This is actually a week after I started using the old seeds. So with this one, we can still leave it alone and then see how it progresses later on. Now, I did an experiment on soil versus when you start to germinate. There's a couple ways you can do that, through soil or through paper towel. If you wet the paper towel, and we'll go ahead and take a look right now, and I put a couple seeds, but as you can see right here, it starts to root. There's 2 seeds that started to root, so we can. Okay, the problem with paper napkin is once the seed starts to sprout, you're gonna have to plant it into soil again. You can't switch it to hydroponic right away. So that's another reason why I don't prefer the napkin, the paper napkin method. If you're going to go with hydroponics, if you go with hydroponics, it's better to grow it in soil in a little pot or container. That way, when it starts to take roots, you can actually take that plants out, and then switch it over to hydroponic. But with this experiment, just to show you that using a wet paper napkin and then you put it into a Ziploc bag, it still work for germinating the seeds. But you still have to put it back into the soil because it's not ready for hydroponics yet. Before we switch to how you can put into hydroponics, I want to give you a little bonus. I had some lemon given to me, so I took the seeds. Now what happened is this was back on March 29th, so it's been about 2 weeks. In my last video, I mentioned that it roughly takes about 2 weeks for the seeds to sprout. With lemon, the seeds are very hard, so after 2 weeks, I noticed there's no progress with the seeds. Using a wet napkin, I did one little experiment. I basically smashed the lemon seeds because the outer shell of the lemon seeds were too hard, and it didn't. There's no indication of there's seedlings or germinating. So as you can see, if I show you, this is just a bonus, just to let you know if you want to grow some lemon or something. See? Let me focus real close. Oops, sorry. Right there. I'll show you right now. Okay. As you can see, the lemon seeds that I did not smash, they didn't root or anything. Right there. See? Let me show you. Right there. Now the one that I did smash to crack the shell, well, as you can see, it started to sprout. So we'll go ahead and keep that, along with, see if you smash it, it looks like the plant can sprout from the seeds faster. So we'll go ahead and put this back into the paper napkin, wet it, and then give it another 3 or 5 days, and then we'll go from there. Once it's done, I'll go ahead and put it into soil before I transfer it into hydroponics. Now, to do hydroponics, let me see. To do hydroponics, you don't have to spend too much money. You can use recycled bottles that I will show you, that you can collect from your house, and when you recycle them. Orange juice bottle. This is about 1.5 quarts. You can use this. You can also use water bottle, or something like this, brisk. Some of the video will show you to kind of like cover the bottle, but I found out that covering the bottle does help prevent algae, but you're still gonna get algae regardless, because you're gonna put it into the sun, and somehow it'll gather up algae inside the container for hydroponics. So it's up to you. I will show you how to start with a simple water bottle. Basically, just take out the caps. Right where the label is, just make an incision and cut around that section. When you get to know a little bit more about hydroponics, you would upgrade to maybe spending a little bit money on doing this, make it neater. But if you're starting out and you don't want to spend too much money, this is the best way to start. This cap right here actually goes here. Let's see, there's a, you got the a hole there so the root can go down to the nutrient water. And I made a video on how to mix your nutrient water for hydroponic. It's in at the end of this video. You can check that out also. So to use this bottle for starting hydroponic, you're gonna spend some money. This is a rock wool. Normally it comes in like a square piece. You don't have to use the whole thing, just cut it in 4 actually. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it 4 pieces, and then kind of like spread it out so that way you can put the plant in between. So this goes into, you can actually push it down a little into this little cap that you cut out from the bottle, and that's your setup right there for hydroponics. Later on, if you want, I drink coffee, so I have these big container. Once the plant gets to a certain size, you want to give it more nutrient. You can use these also, but when you use these, then you're gonna have to invest into purchasing these net cup. With these net cup, it actually, let me show you. It actually fits down into the middle of these containers. So basically it's very easy. Take out the lid. You need to measure the length. Actually flip it down. Measure the length of these net cup. Once you measure the length of the net cup, you're gonna cut about 1/4 of an inch smaller than the whole circumference of that drawing that you did, because you don't want the whole net cup to fall through. You want it to be hanging something like this, hanging down. So you can do that easily by cutting it, or you can use one of these razor. Now be careful, these lid, depending on which kind you got, these can crack easily, so you want to do it very slowly. Just make a small incision first, just poke it through, once you have, and don't cut yourself, okay? Once you have a little puncture through, you can use a scissor. Let me go ahead and do this. See, I cracked it already. Just to show you, but it's okay. It's still usable. Let me go ahead and pause this, and I'll come back to show you once I make the cut. So we're back. So I made the incision. It doesn't have to be perfect. I cracked it a little bit because these lid for the coffee mate is a little bit hard, so they're not soft. So when you trying to make the cut, it can crack, but you can still use it. The net cup you can purchase on Amazon, a whole bag. It's not that expensive, depending how many net cup you want to get. It can range about $8 to $10 for a whole bag. But when you have these, what I tend to do is, first of all, you can cut the hole at the bottom, because what happens when you do hydroponics, the roots start to grow everywhere on the net cup, and it gets through here, through the cracks, and then if you end up needing to take it out and transfer it to soil, it's going to be hard, and you don't want to damage the root. So what I did is I first started cutting a hole at the bottom to make it, bigger, but it's still growing through the sides. So the best way I'll do this is to cut the bottom, and I'll show you. Cut off the bottom part of the net cup. So now here's the original net cup. Here's what I did. I cut it probably halfway, and it's actually, you have all the root can grow freely through the bottom of this net cup. With this net cup, you just place it through, and it sits like this. See it? Now, if you don't cut this and you just want to use the net cup regularly, then you have to use a rock wool. With the rock wool, you can put the plant in between, just like earlier when I show you. With this one right here, you open it, and the plant goes right down where the root can feed on the nutrient. But if you use this, then I spend just a little bit more money buying these. These are rubber, I forgot what they're called, but you can look them up on Amazon. What they do is they fit perfectly down into the net cup, just like that, and it goes into your container. That's basically it. Now, how you transplant these plant that has germinated already, basically what you want to do is, let me get a bucket of water, and we'll go ahead and take it out without just damaging the roots. Here's a bucket of water so you don't spill everywhere. Normally I take it outside and get a hose and spray the soil, and then all you have left is the root. But for this purpose inside the house, I'm just gonna use this bucket of water. So what you want to do is just squeeze the container a little bit. Let me see. I'll use this one because this one has another plant growing here, and I don't want to damage that one. It's too small, too young. I'll use this one. This is the ghost pepper. It's only one seed. I learned that don't put too many seeds into one container, because then you're gonna end up with something like this. And then with me, this is just me, I don't want to throw anything away and just use one. It's just a waste for me, so I end up using all of the plant. But for you, just start off with one only. So same thing, you're gonna just squeeze it a little bit to loosen up the soil, and then when you flip it over, it comes out. When it comes out, normally outside you just spray water to loosen up the soil, but here I got a bucket of water ready, so you can just loosen up the soil that way also, without disturbing the root, and then without damaging it. So you can make sure you can get all the dirt out. Just be gentle, don't rip, don't tear the root. You don't want to damage the root, and it's gonna either won't grow, or it'll be take a long time to recover. So here you have some true leaves already. If you could look really careful, it splits into two, and then at the bottom you have more leaves, true leaves coming out. So this is a perfect way to start hydroponics. You're gonna take this, depending on if you're using the water bottle, or you're using a net cup. So if you use a water bottle, so basically what you do is this rock wool, you can also purchase online. You're gonna go ahead and place the plant right in the middle. Make sure, let's see, it goes right in the middle. You can actually make it straight. See, now that you see the root is hanging from the bottom of the rock wool, you're going to place this into the top part of the water bottle that you cut out. Push it down a little. Now, some video will show you to use pebbles. I got some pebbles here. It's up to you if you want to use it. Basically, what the pebble does is it keeps the rock wool from moving, and it just makes it look nicer. But once you do this a lot, you tend to not want to waste more money on buying more pebbles. So as you can see right there, you place it on top of the water bottle. Oops. Just like that. Now let me get the nutrient. In my other video, I show you how I mix nutrient water. So I have it available already. So basically all I do is take this out, fill it up. Now what you want to do is, when you fill up the nutrient water, make sure you fill it up to where the root starts coming down. You don't want it to overflow the nutrient water. It doesn't need to be up that much. It doesn't need to be filled up that much. So if you put it down, the root, you can't see because of the label, but the root is actually touching the nutrient water already. I'll give it a little bit more. And that's all you have to do. You take this, put it at any window where there's sunlight, and you just leave it alone. If the water, as the plant starts to grow bigger, it's going to start to suck up the nutrient water fast. So if the plant gets to a certain size and the stems is strong enough and you're getting more leaves, and then once it starts to have flowers, then you're going to notice the nutrient is the root's going to suck it up very fast. I mean within a week or two, so you have to keep refilling. But in the beginning, at the start, you don't really have to do anything. Just put it next to the window where there's sunlight and you're good to go. And that's one way to do hydroponics. So we have this. Now the next one is, if you want to use some type of other container, you can use this one right here. Now the same thing goes here. This little rubber piece, basically it's a hole. It looks like this. Okay, it looks like this. All you do is cut out one piece or tear it out, because it won't fit into the net cup right here. So as you can see, I cut it out. What happens is when you put the plant in the middle, just like the other one, when you push this down, it kind of like seals it up. It tightens up the plant. It keeps it steady, and then you don't really have to put any pebbles on top or rocks to keep it from sliding, because this rubber piece, once you push it down, it holds pretty strong. Then with this, same thing. You push it down into this lid. As you can see it? Now the root will be coming out down, and then with this container, you fill it up with nutrient water. Now this is almost a gallon. The reason why you don't want to start hydroponics with a container this big is because you're gonna have to use a lot of nutrient water. I think it's a waste. The plant is just barely starting, so it doesn't need this much. The only time you use something this much is if you have a bigger plant, even bigger than this. See? So this is another way to do it. Other than that, I will go ahead and make another video later on what kind of container I find out to be like the best size in terms of volume to use, and I'll go ahead and make that video and show you. That way you don't have to waste too much nutrient water. So to do hydroponic, you want to conserve, and you don't want to spend too much time, and you don't want to spend too much money also. And I'll show you where I get those containers, and that way it doesn't make it a hassle for you. So if you like the video and if you think it's helpful, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the turn on the notification, and then just give it a thumbs up, and please share it, and it will help me out a lot. Thank you.